Welcome class to chapter 9-4, which is function rules. A function by definition is a relationship that assigns exactly one output value for each input value. That's the formal way of saying that for every x that I have, I should only get one y value if I have a function. Every time that I use x equal to 0, which is my input value, this is the input, this is the output, left hand is input, right hand is output. The output value for 0 is always called b. It is added if it is positive, it is subtracted if it is negative. And if it's 0, we actually don't even need to write it at all. The size of the interval as we go down from one output value to the next is what we call the coefficient of x. In this example, 0 to -4, -4 to -8, -8 to -12, our interval is going to be -4. The function is always going to be written according to this particular format. This is actually also called the general equation of a line. Y equals m, here's our coefficient, times x, and then plus b. Now in this particular example, the -4 is placed as the coefficient in front of x, and it would be add 0. But remember, we don't write it if the output is 0, so I'm going to simplify it to y equals -4x. Let's look at example B. And I don't need that. Here we go. Right here. B is going to equal -3. Now I'm going to look at all my intervals here. It might be very easy to see the interval down toward the bottom where I go from 1 to 2. But as you'll notice, I'm actually getting larger. I'm going from -3 to -1, -1 to 1, 1 to +3. If you look at a number line, that means I'm always going up by 2. I'm adding 2. So m is going to equal 2. Now, remember, here's my format. Y equals mx plus b. Now it's a matter of substitution. Y equals m is 2, 2x plus, remember, it's -3. Now remember what I said back here. If b is negative, then I use subtraction. So if I'm going to simplify this, it's going to be 2x minus 3. Now some students, they just remember it, and they don't worry about this particular step right here. This is considered optional. They just go to y equals 2x minus 3. There are times when they will give you the table like in C. They'll give it to you horizontally rather than vertically. If x is 0, that y output is going to be b. So b equals 1. Then I have to look at my intervals this way, and I'm going up by 4. That means m equals 4. Now again, I am working with y equals mx plus b. Right up here. This you have to kind of memorize, okay? Not kinda, you have to memorize it. So y equals m times x. M is 4 times x. This time it's a +1, so I will add 1. So my function here is going to be y equals 4x plus 1. Let's look at D. You know what? Hit pause. You see if you can do it. How'd you do? Did you get that b equals 1? Always look where x is 0. That will give you the b. Then you have to look at your interval. In this case, it's getting smaller and it's decreasing by 9. So that's a -9. That's the coefficient of x. Sometimes they try to get a little tricky. They do not give you the output for 0. My best advice to you is figure it out and put it above the table. You can kind of figure the pattern. If we look over here, it goes from 6 to 4, 4 to 2, 2 to 0. It's going down by 2 every time. So that would mean -2. So B is going to equal -2. Now I work with the intervals here. Those intervals, however, are positive 2's because I'm getting bigger as I go down. Remember, I'm looking downward as I try to find m. M is going to be positive 2. Y equals, remember, it's that y equals mx plus b. Go over it and over it and over it until you know it. M, substitute. M is 2, 2 times x. Now, remember, when b is negative, I subtract it. So y equals 2x minus 2. The other thing they're going to do today's lesson is something that you have done in the past. They are going to give you the values they want, the input values, in this case 0, 1, 2, 3. They want the output values, and they're going to give you the function. And in this case, our function rule is 3x plus 5. I substitute. What I've done is taken 3 times 0 plus 5. Well, 3 times 0 is 0 plus 5 gives me 5, and that's what I put in the blank, or in the box, or in the table. My next input value is supposed to be 1. I substitute that for x. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 5 equals 8. Now, can you do the rest of them mentally? If not, hit pause, write them out. But you should have gotten 11 and 14. For example B, please hit pause. You do the work, and then I will put the answers in for you. Well, class, how did you do? Did you get the -2, the 0, the 2, and the 4? I did show you how to work it through over on the side if necessary. Let's go on to example C. Instead of putting it in a table, they're just going to give you what they want you to use for x, and then they're going to give you a function. Generally what they're going to do is give you a line to write on, hopefully straighter than what I've just done. You just substitute and write it down. 1 plus 6 is 7. 2 plus 6 is 8. 3 plus 6 is 9. 4 plus 6 is 10. All right, this time, again, you hit pause and you do D. We're back to those fractions again. 1 divided by 4 is 1/4. 2 divided by 4 is 1/2. 3 divided by 4 is 3/4. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. Remember that we always express our fractions in lowest terms. And that concludes today's lesson 9-4 on function rules. Spouting out.